What's up, everybody? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by We Print Wraps. We Print Wraps is the wrap industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps. They offer free nationwide shipping all across the U.S. and Canada. Go to WePrintWraps.com today. Okay, folks, welcome to the All Wrapped Up podcast. If you're new to the show, I've been a weekly listener. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. As you know, I don't ask for much, but I appreciate it if you left your feedback and a 5-star rating on any platform that you're listening to. It really helps us out in getting the word out about the industry. And don't forget, if you find value in the content, subscribe and tell a friend. And now here's a brand new episode of All Wrapped Up with Steve Carney from Carbon Wraps. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live. We have Steve Carney from Carbon Wraps. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, man, I've been waiting for this episode since RapsCon, bro.
Thank you.
ever since, man, and I know you probably brought me out because you heard me say on Hanir's podcast about my breakdancing background.
Oh, yeah.
You found me, dude, on the dance floor and was like, let's go. We got a battle. And honestly, I didn't have that many drinks in me yet that I could breakdance on that concrete.
I heard that Hanier had said something about breakdancing. And I was like, oh, really? So I heard the podcast and I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty cool. And it also is pretty neat that we all have different backgrounds and how we got in the industry, but we all have something that connects besides the industry of wrapping or signage.
Yeah, definitely. But
yeah, I was getting not pressure, but I was getting encouragement, like, hey, you gonna dance, you gonna break dance. And then of course my wife Jen, she was like, all right, babe, this has been a couple people already, so you have to do something before we leave. I was like, all right.
Oh, man, when you broke out the windmills, I could already feel my flesh tingling from doing those on the floor, man. I'm like, you beat me. It's all you, bro. It's all you.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not much of a drinker, and I did have a few drinks. And I was like, oh boy, I would have much rather have done this sobered up 100%. But when it's in your muscle memory, you just go.
Yeah, you just go with the flow, let the music come through you, and do your thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, dude. So typically how we start the podcast, I like to get an inside look at any type of projects you have going on throughout this week or how you ended last week. Can you share a little bit what you had going on?
Cool, absolutely. So we've been doing quite a few Porsches. Sometimes it's interesting, you have one car in that you're working on and a client comes by for something totally different and they see what you're working on and didn't know you could do a whole car or didn't know that a full wrap would look, high gloss or matte, like very clean.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely had a big run of Porsches, anywhere from just doing some small striping, roofs or very, full, very in-depth wraps. So we did quite a bit. It was definitely well-rounded. And one of them is pretty funny, that we just recently did. The client was asking about literally copying the same wrap. So he's like,
from another project.
Yeah, he basically, it's like, all right, I really like that. Can you do the same exact thing on my Porsche?
Wow.
And I was like, well, yeah, we could, but, you know, this person doesn't live far from where you're at. So, if you're fine with, you know, literally copying, what this guy did, we could do that, but I'd prefer to, you know, it's always nice to help guide the client. You know, I'd prefer to do something a little different or change the color slightly, you know?
Right.
So luckily, he did decide to do a different color. So that worked out. And it's nice to show something fresh. You know, when you're doing, you know, 10 different gloss black roofs, you may not want to post them all, you know? And, you know, a lot of us don't post, everything we work on.
Right.
We tend to, really focus on, being clever with posting, because at the end of the day, it's marketing for our clients and everybody else second. So that's really important. Keeping fresh ideas going and, you know, keeping the audience engaged. That's how you, at the end of the day, what we do in the industry is artistic. So
Right.
we need to show our art. That's what sells.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what keeps us busy.
Yep. I mean, any type of social media marketing is basically a showroom, online of your work. And to be strategic in how you post, when you post, and trying to keep some type of theme, really helps out. You know, I've noticed it on your social media, and we'll get into that, as the conversation goes. But I think, honestly, man, everybody out there in the rap industry, you've got one of the cleanest Instagram campaigns going. I just love the way you strategically post and how you post. 'Cause when you scroll down, it's all like the same, but with different projects. It's so cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I definitely, since day one, you know, everything's at our fingertips now. And, we're from the age now, technology wise, that, you know, we can do a lot of free marketing for ourselves, just from, you know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm not a huge, believe it or not, social media person, but once I got connected with it and kind of understood it, I definitely changed my focus on, making it look like a true online portfolio.
Right.
Rather than like a personal use. Obviously, I'll go back real quick, to when I first got into social media. This actually, you know, a few of you guys will enjoy this, but it all started from breakdancing.
Oh, there we go.
So, having put together a team, you know, a crew of breakdancers. That's how I first got into social media advertisement is from MySpace.
Oh, going way back.
Yeah, going way back. So
wow.
Being a group, we did a lot of, you know, personal battles and matches, but we also did things for the local community, like events or dance or art festivals.
Right.
And we did stuff with Stomp the Odyssey when they came in town. We've also done, you know, things for the news, you know, all tied up with breakdancing. So that was my way of showcasing each individual and the group and showing stuff we were doing to kind of keep it a little professional in a way.
Right.
So we could keep getting gigs, and we got sponsored by doing that, we got sponsors with one of the athletic stores, and they gave us equipment like elbow pads, knee pads, helmets. And, we were all pretty young. I was probably, at that time when I did this, I was probably like 18 or 19.
Wow.
And, the age, range, was, my youngest, nephew was, probably 9.
Wow.
So we got a lot of, pretty neat things. One of the hardware stores, I think it was, Home Depot or Lowe's possibly, provided a, linoleum floor, which is pretty cool. So, that was pretty neat. So I learned right then and there that this does work because we were young. We didn't have money to do a website, and, that was the goal. But this Facebook, we could reach people. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah, it's a cheaper alternative, and it's a free alternative at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you could really engage with your audience.
Yep.
And likewise, you could contact people, so it was pretty neat. So I got into the social media that way and basically started doing our team shirts. So from there, people really liked it because I got into the industry as a graphic designer. So
wow,
everything I do is artistic based. Anything with art, I love it. So breakdancing is an art. So
absolutely.
I wanted us to look uniform and as a group, professional.
Right.
So
did you guys rock the Adidas sweatsuits, old school with the Kango hat, like back in the day?
Oh yeah. So our main thing at the time was because when I first seen breakdancing, obviously I'm from the 80s, 84. So I was a little boy and I seen it, but I couldn't do it. But when I actually got into it, it was already way past the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the second generation of breakdancers. So it was a little more acrobatic.
Yes.
And high pace. So it was kind of an interesting time. So you had your culture change a little and the style of dance and the way you looked. So we did do the traditional Adidas and Puma and stuff like that. But then we also had the new look with, some of the elbow padding and the nice shirts.
Right. Not doing head spins on your head, actually wearing a helmet and
well, no.
No? Damn.
I learned immediately when I started breakdancing that what you do at your house and what you do right on the spot at school or at a jam, which is for those that don't know, a jam is an event for breakdancing. That's what they call it. It's wherever you're at. If you get called out or you need to show off a move or whatnot,
on the spot,
breakdancing, you got to do it right then and there.
Yep.
So I started teaching my crew. It's all right. We're gonna use cardboard here, but we're gonna go out to the park and we're gonna dance in the parking lot. We're gonna dance on the concrete. We're gonna train our bodies that this is the impact. So if you do something nice on carpet at home, comfortable, how are you going to perform that outside in the heat on something that's not even?
Right.
So it's kind of like know your boundaries because I didn't want us to get hurt. So basically, I learned how to condition your body for martial arts, hitting, punching bags or mats or wood. So breakdancing, if you're dancing on concrete, you want to know, all right, you've already conditioned your body. You have that muscle memory. You know, that's going to hurt. So you might not want to do certain moves or what you could do before you get to that point where you could get hurt.
Right.
So it was kind of like, it was rough, but, that's the way I taught.
That's insane. Now you talked a little bit about martial arts. Did you get into martial arts as well? Transitioning from,
Oh yeah.
breakdancing?
Yeah. I was all over the place. So basically, my brother and I grew up, our father was in the military and he was stationed in the Orient, as he would say, but he was stationed overseas in different parts of Asia.
Wow.
And, he did visit Japan and, obviously he was in Vietnam, but he visited Japan and he loved martial arts. So he actually watched a demonstration of Aikido, which is, the martial art that the samurai actually use. So in battle, if you lose your sword or you're being attacked by a samurai, this is a way to defend without a sword, without a weapon, or with the sword, with the weapon.
Wow.
So he loved martial arts as well. So my main thing was always wanting to learn Aikido. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that's what I wanted to learn.
Were you stationed with your dad in?
No, so my part of life with my father was late in his 40s.
Wow.
So, yeah, he traveled, he did his thing, and he settled down in, Chicago where he met, our mother. So he was in his 40s at that point.
Wow.
And that's where we were born. Well, I was born and my brother was conceived, in Chicago, but we ended up moving to Florida because our part of town was pretty rough.
Yeah, Chicago's a tough city to live in.
Yeah, so we were in the Humboldt Park area for those that are from up north or Chicago, so they have an idea. But my father was a really nice, generous person, and you know, he could talk to anybody, so he didn't care what part of town it was. And you're gonna have your nice parts and your rough parts anywhere.
Right.
So you can't live in fear. You have to just, pick your place, but, know what's there and how to deal with it.
Right.
My father actually, he loved to teach people. So that's probably where I get, my love for, teaching, showing some knowledge to others. But he basically took some kids off the street, literally out of the gangs and taught them a trade.
Wow.
Yeah. So he did alarm systems and anything with wiring. So I probably got some of my focus, cause he was not an artist, but I probably got some of my focus and, care for what I do to give it my all. And, from him, working with wires, electronics, or, wiring something, you have to really pay attention and, you could get hurt or die or damage a circuit board, depending on what you're working on. So,
yeah.
Laser focus I probably got that from him for sure.
That's amazing. Now, is that a trade that he had picked up himself, or was it something that he was actually doing in the military to help the military?
He actually, did that in the military.
Wow.
It didn't go that way, originally, but, so obviously way back in the day,
yeah.
Most people either joined the military by choice, they got drafted, or you were a bad kid and that was your, all right, you're either going to go to jail or you join the military and you work your problems out.
Right.
So that was kind of his thing. He ended up having to join the military or whatnot. But in the military, he learned, booby traps. He joined the recon. So
wow.
Special forces, booby traps, explosives, whatnot. So from that, he probably was like, all right, I like this. And he ended up being, a special person that would go to, each camp or wherever they're, setting up
Right.
And he would put, booby traps to keep everybody safe. And he would set alarms too. So he found his passion with wiring. And I guess it was really new at that time. Doing trip wires with that. It would sound an alarm, or, he would kind of combine the dangerous booby trap to an alarm, to alert, to do a sound,
right,
as well as injure them. But it was mainly about, the wiring and stuff like that. Cameras too. He got into that. So, he ended up going in for one reason and, came out, with something totally different. So it's pretty kind of like how a lot of us get into this, industry, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Myself being a graphic designer, ended up learning vehicle wraps, so it was pretty interesting.
That's amazing. And thank you. I know your dad's not with us, and
yeah.
Sorry for your loss, but I appreciate what he did for our country and serving.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, I do owe it to him for being in this industry, because as a graphic designer, he pushed for me to work at his company, which was a resort company, a huge resort company, timeshare.
Okay.
So here in Florida, we have, it's a vacation spot. So, we have hotels and resorts and timeshares all over. So, our biggest one here was or still is, Westgate Resorts. So anyways, he did wiring over there. And he was the electrician, tradesman. Being a Marine, he met another Marine, and that guy just happened to be an art director, and it's like, hey, when my son finishes school, yeah, send him over. I'll find a spot for him,
That's awesome. Now, when you say graphic designer, what type of graphic design side were you in? Were you more of like a hand pencil drawing, or more already advanced on the computer stuff?
So, I love to draw. So I was a hand pencil. I love black and white art, just straight pencil or pen art. I basically did it's not a magnet program, but it's a, high school. This group came to visit, all the schools, and they basically said, you can go to this new tech school. That's what it was, tech school. You'll still do high school, but your elective, instead of being sports or, art, music, it'll be a trade.
Right.
So they had, body shop, they had,
auto mechanic,
home ec,
wood
all,
shop.
all the different, wood shop. So I like to draw. So I was like, I'll check it out. I was thinking drafting, actually, architectural stuff, but I'm glad I didn't go that route. I don't know. I might have been rich. I might have been sucky. Who knows? But once I saw graphic design and they were drawing with it, I was like, all right, this guy's doing graffiti on the computer. I want to do that.
Yeah.
That's where the hip hop, part of me came out. But then I did see like photo manipulation and stuff. So I was like, this seems more free realm, open to more things, more possibilities, where the drafting was like straightforward, measuring and, a little bit of drawing. So
yeah, creating boxes all day.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was like, all right, I want to try that. And I'm glad I did. And, obviously when I got out of high school, I had college credits for that. And I used that to start getting experience at different shops. So I worked at a print shop as a graphic designer doing, laying out business cards and brochures, all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, burning plates, doing color separation, good stuff.
Old school stuff. That was the way to do it. Color separation, t-shirt designs.
Yeah.
Marketing, club flyers.
Yep.
That was our generation right there.
Definitely club flyers. That was like the hot one. That and brochures.
And that was guaranteed, you know what I mean? Every week, new DJ, new promotion,
Yep.
you know?
And a lot of lawyers, you know, a lot of black and white business cards with the little
Raised lettering.
Yep.
Old school. Yep.
You know, I wasn't thrilled about it, but I got to learn a lot. Life takes you on this journey, and you never know what works out for you in the end until you're there. And I learned a lot from there, and all these different experiences, you know, I had more to add to my portfolio as experience. And next thing I know, I get, you know, offered a job at the Westgate Resort doing in-house. So I actually was hired as a framer at first. So they were waiting on a position to open for the graphic design. So the art director was basically like, yeah, bring him over. We'll put him in one of our divisions for now, and when that position opens, he could apply for it as long as he gets his foot in the door. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Framing, you know, you frame the art, you frame instructional pictures. So we did a lot of different framing, which was just different, you know, but I learned a lot there. You know, it was an art as well, because if you cut the mat wrong, you'll get fragments, you know, inside the glass, inside the plexiglass, or whatnot. And, you know, to this day, I think stuff like that helped me like laser focus my, you know, attention to detail and precision, working with different blades to cut glass or plexi or mats. So it was interesting.
Yeah. You take a little bit from every little job you've gone through in your life and you apply it to what you're doing now.
Yeah. And, you know, I think what a lot of people don't realize, and I mean, we start as babies and then we grow up to be adults. Somewhere along the line, we realize, all right, I'm not happy with what I'm doing in life. You know?
Yeah.
People may be there to guide you, but most of the time, if you don't talk about it or you don't realize like, why don't I try something different? You know, so what I'm trying to say about that is whatever you're doing in life, you should give it your all, you know, and then use that. You give it your all, you'll find out you get results, you know. I gave it my all. I got an opportunity to do the graphic design. If I would have said, no, I'll wait till that's open, maybe I wouldn't have got called up for it, you know. Maybe they would have filled up a person with 20, 30 years experience doing graphic design versus a kid straight out of high school, no true experience or college degree, you know. I still had college credit, but I wasn't going to college yet. So give it your all and, you know, and learn the difference between a job and a career, you know. There's a lot of stepping stones in life and people don't realize, you know, I've heard it several times and I'm sure a lot of us have, been told, wow, you have a dream job. You have what you do is awesome, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling, you know? Yeah, we all get stressed. We all get happy about what we're doing, but we are pretty lucky to do what we do, you know?
Ultimately, we have a choice now. Back then, when our parents were growing up, 50s, 60s, they didn't have a choice, man. You either were a janitor, you either went into the military, you worked at a factory, or whatever. You didn't really have a choice. My parents are immigrants, so they really couldn't get those high paying office jobs. They had to use what they knew and they had to find a job doing that. And us now, we're, I don't want to say spoiled, but at the end of the day, like, we have a choice. And if you don't take that kind of gift, because, you know, going back to what you said, like, if you learn the difference between a job and a career in the stepping stones aspect of what you said, like you said, design, if you didn't take design, you probably, from when you started in high school to where you are now, 15, 16 years out of high school, you would have never put those two things together. But because,
Nope.
but because you took those stepping stones and analogy, every door that was opened or that you created to open, led you to this path that you're in now. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? You have to go through those ups, those downs, those highs, those lows, because ultimately you don't know what your path is. We're all trying to figure it out. Some people find it later on in life, in their 50s or 60s. They find their career or they find their passion, or their purpose in life later in life. If you don't start earlier, straight out of high school or right after your college career, it might take you a little bit longer, but that's kind of like what you have to go through in life. When you grow up, you know, there's no guidebook that you can open up or go read that will tell you how to live your life.
Yeah, you will enjoy this. You will hate that.
Right.
No. And you know, back to that, yeah, obviously, I'm only in my 30s. I'm not like this guy that's been around and has all this knowledge, but I will say, you know, from my little experiences, and you're, like you said, you're right. We are a little spoiled with what we have, our opportunities. So I was working at one of these shops, not knowing that I was quote unquote a temporary employee until their main designer came back to, come back from his, long vacation, you know?
Oh, jeez.
You know, traveling Europe or whatever he was doing. So I learned hard way, like, oh man, I'm disposable, you know, no matter how artistic or how good I think I am. When you work for somebody, you're as good as you are only as valuable as you make yourself.
Right.
And, when somebody's paying you, if they need to make a cut or whatever, they will do it. So if you're not valuable, you know, you're out. And I took other jobs, you know, I worked at Universal Studios, which is here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
In between waiting for my next step. I never took that job at Universal and said, I'm going to give this my all and stay here forever until I'm a manager. No, I did my stepping stone and I moved on till I found my next, designing job.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, I'm into breakdancing and hip hop. So I also DJ'd in between while I was not working at I never gave up, whether I had a good job or a sucky job or something not in the industry. I never quit. While I worked at Universal as a chef, as a cook, cause I wasn't doing anything gourmet. You know, I'm a young kid, you know, like, all right, fry those, burgers, make those, gyros, you know. I was DJing on the side, that's what I enjoyed at the time and still do. But I was DJing and building up clientele, doing business cards for myself. Right. You know, so I didn't stop my art. I put it towards boosting my breakdancing team and, my DJing, you know,
right.
Made business cards, made, tape deck covers, made CD covers, made stickers for the CDs. You know, I even did mixtapes for our crew and we would try to sell those. Later on, people really liked our shirts. So we would get asked to do their team shirts. Next thing you know, I'm doing a, clothing company for hip hop, you know?
Wow.
So no matter what, I kept just going with the flow. Mm-hmm. And nothing comes natural to anybody. You have to learn, you have to go through your good times, bad times, but I kept going and, I kept my design skills going, tried different things. So learned more about, t-shirt separation, learn more about, vectorizing, or welding your vector graphics. Yeah. So when you cut stickers, it actually does a nice solid cut of the letters instead of something that has a script and letters are overlapping and, it gets all screwed up.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot of different things just by keeping, keeping everything going. So that was a good journey. It's kind of funny because I'm a very personal person. So talking about my, story is kind of interesting.
Opening up a little bit, but it's almost, you sit back and you kind of reminisce quite a bit on where you come from. And, the whole part of the podcast, honestly, it's almost like I get to experience and walk through, your story, your journey with you as you kind of unravel everything. And you sit back and you kind of, as the storyteller, which would be the guest, after the podcast is over, they, I don't know, it's almost like out of body type of like spiritual thing. They're like, man, I totally forgot about all these experiences, all these types of journeys, that I had to go through, that sometimes we neglect to like really sit back and be like, I remember when I was eating, ramen noodles for a month and trying to build my business, cutting stickers on my kitchen table and shit like that. Like, yeah, it's nice to know, like, yes, you walk into your shop and you feel accomplished, you feel appreciative, you feel blessed that you have something.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes we forget, like, all the shit we had to get, we had to walk through in order to get there too. So the point of the podcast is just, to help kind of bring out those stories and just sit back and laugh and enjoy what you came through, because now you're able to reap the fruit of the shit that you had to deal with now.
Oh yeah.
To like this amazing, successful business you guys are in now. And I'm able to enjoy that with you and talk about it and experience it, man. It sometimes it will bring me to tears. Sometimes it will make me think about stuff that I had to go through too, and similar stories. And man, it's just humbling to think that all of us really had to go through so much shit to get to where we are now and to actually share the stories. I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate you opening up, because it's not easy to open up sometimes. We met at RapsCon. We like each other on social media. It's like the interaction, talking to a complete stranger is like, okay, where can this conversation go? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you don't know who's on the other side, or, you might think that person's cool online and you meet him in person. You're like, whoa, that guy's, rude or cocky, or that person's like so amazing and humble. And that person has a lot of knowledge,
Right.
It is pretty amazing, what we could do nowadays, and sharing stories is nice. Really appreciate what you're doing, because this is almost like, a tree of knowledge, that gets shared now, and people can go back like, the year 2045 or something, and they're like, oh wow, let me check those old, podcasts out.
Right.
And it's just pretty interesting, and let's be real. We're all laborers,
Mm-hmm.
none of us are famous, because if we were, we wouldn't be, wrapping a car or owning a company, doing advertisement. But, we all started someplace, and we're at where we're at, for the hard work that you put
in.
Yeah, we're in Florida. We have a lot of, advertisement going on, vehicles that are exotic, where if you're up somewhere out in the West, you may not have, Lamborghinis to work on, or buildings to wrap. You have trucks or dirt bikes or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're working on. At the end of the day, are you getting paid? are you providing, and are you enjoying what you're doing,
Right.
But it's cool that we can all share and kind of like, man, I really like what that person does, or this person, I didn't know how to do this. And now that I saw that how this person did it, that's really cool. I have confidence in doing that kind of, vehicle or whatnot or sign.
Yeah.
So, it is pretty cool that, we have this at our fingertip that we could talk and we could listen while we work,
Right.
and I'm blessed to, be involved with my family, and the business,
Yeah. Not a lot of us have that luxury.
No.
Unfortunately. And we talk about it on the podcast and how sometimes, as laborers, we work really hard and we're very passionate at what we do and we want to provide for our families. But in sacrifice for that, we lose time.
Mm-hmm.
With our loved ones, whether it be boyfriends, girlfriends, sons, daughters, grandmas, whatever the case may be, we lose all that time because we sacrifice, our craft, to provide for them. And I love, going back, I just love how you, had the analogy of it being, a tree and a branch, cause for every branch that's grown from this podcast is that guest. That guest provides information and, going back, I mean, the podcast, like, I don't own the podcast. The podcast is owned by the guests at the end of the day. Cause you guys are the ones sharing the stories, your backgrounds, your struggles. That's what we all tune in to listen to and to, have that same kind of like goal in mind or that same passion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. And if it wasn't for all my guests and future guests that I'm going to have on, this podcast would not be as successful as it has been, coming up to my 10th month already.
Yeah. Doing great, man.
I appreciate
Definitely doing great. And again, I think it's awesome that we could do this. And, it almost gives, people opportunity to be, open up. Like you said, we see each other at an event at, RapsCon or SEMA or, whatnot. You have like another understanding of that person and you can really connect instead of just saying, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so. Oh, hey, like,
and that's the end of that.
Something about that person, and they know something about you or not yet. So it's really neat. And, like I said, at the end of the day, we're all laborers and that client that's paying you doesn't care what, as long as their job is done and it's good, that's what they care about. They're going to pay you, but they don't care, what you work on or how many of this you've done or how many years. They want to know that their job's done and it's good,
Yeah, that they don't get those conversations where you work till midnight for that job to be done for 8 a.m. and stuff like that. That sacrifice that you had to, kind of go through in order to get that job done. And, all of us have deadlines. It happens. It's just nature of the beast. But, I would love for all of us to, find an equal playing ground where it's, you quit at 5, you quit at 6 and you go home to your families and work will always be there. There's no reason to rush or feel like you have to stay late. It's time management. It's scheduling correctly. It's so many things, that sometimes we kind of don't look at the end of the day. We're just too busy. Like, I just want to wrap. Like, let's go. And look at the time and it's like 11 o'clock at night. You're like, oh my God. Okay. Maybe if I stay another 2 hours, I'll be done. Come in late the next morning, get a couple hours of sleep and then start all over again,
Oh yeah.
But it's not healthy.
No. and I'm guilty of that for sure.
Oh, we all are.
I'm so passionate about what I do, about everything. I speak from my heart when I say this. I love what I do, and I care a lot about what I do. And, yeah, sometimes, our business hours are 10 to 4, but better believe it. Sometimes I got to be here late,
Yeah.
you know, working for yourself, it sounds cool. You just have to know there are more sacrifices versus clocking in and leaving. You want those big bucks, but at the end of the day, your big bucks,
Come at
get
a
spread,
price.
they spread out towards all these other things that you never had to deal with. So if you're passionate about what you do, you're going to take it as far as it'll go, whether you're working for somebody. I'm not knocking that at all. You could be very successful working for somebody, and likewise, you could be very, successful working for yourself, but there are two different sacrifices. Touching base on that, in all my little journeys, I've learned I am too passionate about what I do to work for other people. Just because I care so much about, all right, and I come from commercial background, for those that didn't know, yeah, color change is what we do. We love it. We've been doing that since day one as Carbon Wraps, but this industry is from hand painters, hand painting signs, and that art transferred into the digital, so I've done signs, I've done billboards, I've done banners, and I've also done, commercial vehicles, box trucks, I learned off of doing buses, trolleys, a lot of rivet on the box trucks, corrugated, containers, all kinds of stuff. But, I didn't stop and stay comfortable doing this or that. I kept learning and evolving and giving it my all, So this industry has so much to offer. So don't get comfortable doing this or that, try other things, learn more, there's so much out there, you
Definitely.
Never know what could be the next niche that you could do.
Right.
And while wraps are hot, let's keep pushing them, I think it'd be awesome if, there was a kind of guideline for pricing in the industry, for your area, state or city. Because I think that's important for those that are just starting, or are a smaller shop,
Right.
We can all work together and, we don't have to be competitors,
Right.
If we're all on the equal price range and we could help each other out, why not?
Yeah. There's no bidding wars or, lack of, price gouging.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. You know what I mean?
Nope.
We're all in the business to make money. Joe down the street is charging $12 a square. Why is Larry 2 blocks down charging $8?
Yeah.
Why?
And he doesn't have to stay there until 12 o'clock trying to finish it for less than
exactly
he could have made, or exactly. She could have made.
There's a sacrifice somewhere. So it could be either in the client's end or that provider of the service. Someone's sacrificing something somewhere down the road. So you're either getting a shitty quality, wrap, or that client is going to get a good wrap, but, they're going to have like stupid timelines. Like, I need this done in 24 hours or something crazy.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy because, sometimes we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, SEMA's coming up. I want this car built. Okay. It's going to be this much, Oh, well, it's going to be for SEMA. I'm just using this as an example.
Yeah.
People talk about SEMA cars looking like crap, Well, what was that realistic time frame? Was that person coming to you for 2 days or a day and saying, hey, can you wrap this? And we're going to get you exposure, and you believed it. And now you're working 24 hours straight doing a car that they're going to pay you a little bit for, but it doesn't get you any business,
Right.
Just cause you want to have everything sounded good and I want that car at SEMA, I'm going to get business, we all want to make money, we all want to be successful at what we do. So, if there was more education out there for realistic pricing and maybe we wouldn't be rushing and cutting corners. Maybe we would know the limitations of the film because we're thinking about it instead of just, hey, it needs to get on and I don't care, you know?
Right.
They want it done in 24 hours or they want it done, squeezed in between my busy week.
Yeah, they're gonna get that 24-hour price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there isn't gonna be quality involved in any of that.
Nope. So, it's not always the installer, which nothing bad to say about manufacturers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
yeah.
there is a lot thrown at the installers. Sometimes you got to look at that film too,
Right. I agree.
What was the shelf life when we got it? What was on the car when the client brought it that we didn't know was ceramic coated or back in the day whatever those other coatings are, There's all kinds of different variables when you're doing custom vehicles. Obviously, if we're doing commercial, different situation, again, not knocking anything, but most of the time they want to see their logo on there and get it done. Boom.
Yep.
These custom vehicles, like I was saying, going like SEMA or whatnot, who knows what's done to those cars. So, you could be setting yourself up for failure, doing personal vehicles. But yeah, we basically, that's all we do, is, race cars, customizing personal vehicles for people. I call it restyling. We'll do window trim. I know that a lot of people love the chrome deletes, roof wraps, It's not always about doing that full wrap. Sometimes you can make more money quicker, doing a roof or a hood, or doing some quick little accents,
Absolutely.
Or slapping a logo on somebody's car or selling them a magnet,
Yep.
So you just take pride in what you do and it'll keep going. It'll,
Absolutely.
Put the work in.
That's it. Now you talked about your background a little bit as far as like the commercial game that you came from. Let's go back a little bit, to when you were exposed to the whole industry.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, it basically all started at Westgate Resorts. From framing, the opportunity came that they had the opening for the graphic designer. Now, working in the framing division, they also had an in-house sign shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I would help them at times because we were like pretty much neighbors, all in the same building. And I thought it was cool, cutting out the letters, how the plotters, cut colors, and then putting it on the sign and printing. At the time, I think it was like the HP inkjets. Seeing a print happen on a large format was like, wow. And doing little decals, like welding the stuff so that the vector would cut clean. It was like, it was very interesting. So I had that opportunity that the opening was available for the graphic design, or I could work at the sign shop because they're getting busier. So right then and there was another,
another door.
Yeah, I could have gone with design and never got into the sign industry, wrap industry, and I'd be on a different path. So it was just interesting. I chose the sign industry, the sign shop. And I'm glad I did, because, that's where I'm at now. So because I chose the sign shop, I got the opportunity to do, the window perfs and the logos on all the company vehicles. And when the time came for for me, it was 2003. When, it might have been 2004. But anyways, the owner of the timeshares, David Siegel, had a timeshare, he had a deal with, Planet Hollywood in Vegas.
Yeah.
When he was out there, he's seen a vehicle wrap. And when he came back to Florida to, have a meeting, he said, I saw this vehicle with people on it. I want to do that. I want to advertise all the timeshares, the resorts, all our locations. So because that happened and I was in the sign shop, our task was to figure out how to do a vehicle wrap.
Yeah. So you guys were going through the transition of the cut vinyl, just putting in the colored vinyls and cutting a bunch of colors to now you guys got to transition to digital.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And when we were doing the research, we actually, we were using inkjets. So we didn't know about solvent. We didn't know what a vehicle wrap was.
Mm-hmm.
So we were getting like quotes to do, 150 or 250 vehicles. We were getting quotes for like $500,000, $750,000. You know what I mean? It was like $500,000 to $1 million, to do this large job. And we were like, wow, why is it so expensive? But that was our task to figure out, okay, we're going to sub this stuff out because we can't do it in house. We don't know about it. But the big wigs, the corporate people were like, why don't we purchase the equipment and have a division that does it in-house, And that's when, my path started. So,
wow.
And at that point, they were looking to hire a person for vehicle wrap. So I was like, oh, this, so we were looking at, okay, how much to pay to somebody? How do we find a vehicle wrapper?
Mm-hmm.
The only people that were really doing vehicle wraps that we found were shops out of state doing stuff for like NASCAR, this and that. So we're like, man, the local companies that were charging like these crazy amounts were the ones that had a quote unquote vehicle wrappers.
Right.
Where do we find this? We're trying to find more info. 3M's website came up talking about 180C, new product. And, somehow I came across like training. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So, I was talking about my day with my father and, he's like, oh, you sound excited about that. And I'm like, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. We're looking to hire somebody. He's like, well, how much is the course? I'll put on my credit card and send you.
Wow.
I was like, huh? And I think I was like 19. I was like, sure, So out of our own pocket, my father's pocket, I'll say, he sent me out there. I went and did it was the Scotch print graphic, class.
Yeah.
At the time. And,
still in Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota. So it was so, new to me because I was doing wet application. I was doing, foam board graphics as a one shot, application.
Right.
Dry. So I had knowledge in wet and dry application, but, and window perf, but I wasn't like a vehicle wrapper. I didn't understand it. So it was, very interesting and very, overwhelming. Like, whoa, it opened my eyes. Like, we could do a lot with this,
Yeah.
Seeing the pictures and then doing it, I was like, all right, I could get into this.
Right.
I don't want to get into all the drama that happened over me, going to this school, but, there was another employee that was trying to do the class, and they were closed. There was no more. But I was, so they didn't know that I was going to this class on my vacation.
Smart.
Yeah.
Take your vacation time and go get training and come back and be like, guess what? I can do now.
Yeah. So, there's a little bit of drama over that, but we paid for it, and it worked out. When the big boss found out that I went out there, I automatically became the person. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So you took initiative, and your dad was able to, provide for you to go there, man. I mean, you probably owe a lot to your dad to get you to where you are now for starting that, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was definitely, I don't remember what the cost was. I'm sure it's all the same, but it was just like a couple thousand, flight and all that.
Right.
I'm like, man, I felt kind of bad. I'm like, all right, I'm going to truly have to use this knowledge and make money to pay him back.
Yep.
I didn't want that. We weren't rich. Yeah. And a couple thousand is like,
it's a lot of money back then.
It was more than my car. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm going to figure out how to pay him back.
That's awesome.
From doing that, I would get flown out or drive a company vehicle to locations and do raps on the spot. Or like I said, they would fly me out to a different location with graphics, and I would do X amount of vehicles for that location. So it was actually like a highlight of my life. I was like, whoa.
Mobile installer.
That's where I felt like I was cool. I'm like, whoa, this company's like flying me out to go do this, or, and this was before, like, for me, this was before like vehicle wraps was the form of advertisement,
Right.
So I didn't see many out. There wasn't this, how social media is. There was nothing like that. So it was a highlight for me personally. So it was like, this is cool. I didn't think there was other people doing it, It's
right.
like, this is so new. Like, this is cool. So I got to learn, how it works. But, beforehand, we were testing out vehicle wraps, printing, they bought the printer, and we had 3 vans to do, like the week before I went on vacation. So I was like, so I learned the hard way before I even went to school for training, because this was basic training, and I'll get to that. So they bought a Seiko, Painter 64, True Solvent, and then they bought the 180C, material, and they bought the, window perf laminate, 8915, right? Mm-hmm. So with the window perf combination. So, what we did is we printed the graphic and we laminated immediately. This is how new we were. All right. So with inkjet, you could do that. But, in 2003, we didn't know,
saturation and outgassing and.
Oh man, we saw the bubbles immediately of the outgassing, the horror stories that they talk about that in the trainings nowadays was like what we were experiencing on the spot. So it's like, wow, that's weird. I wonder why it's doing that, And then we were using the most expensive, optically clear laminate on this print that's freshly, printed. So it's like, oh man, it was such a disaster, but it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't come out of your pocket. It was a learning curve for the owners.
Yep.
And all you could do is, okay, how do we troubleshoot this now?
Yeah. And if it wasn't for all these chains of events happening, I don't think I would be as good and focused as I am, because, I got to see, obviously it was their money, like you said, but I got to see, all right, that didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, this roll's garbage, you know, and at the time, vehicle wraps were super expensive. I think, you know, you could get $5,000 for a commercial partial wrap or whatever. So, man, it was just, you know, immediately printed, laminated, and then we went outside into the, we didn't have a shaded area or a garage to do these wraps because that's not what we did.
Oh my
so
God.
It was like literally a dirt field behind us. So we walked out and the vans pulled up and we literally started like not cleaning it or anything, pulling up in this dirt, field while the dust is blowing. I remember it. I was like, whoa, this is like a movie. And we started wrapping in the sun, 12 o'clock, lunchtime.
Oh
you know?
my God.
It's like they're dropping it off. Let's just try one panel before we go to eat.
Oh my God.
Oh man, just like so excited, you know, taped it up and, little did we know, you know, the designers, cause I wasn't in that area now. I was just focused on the sign shop. The designers did the graphic and they were I don't think they had the templates at the time.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, where there was windows, they actually left those areas white, blank. They didn't want to waste ink, right? So.
You know, funny story, not to cut you off.
No,
I still see that shit with people. It drives me nuts. When you see a whole side of a car and they've got the white where the wheels are, I'm like, why would you do that? Just print the whole graphic, because God forbid you need another inch or two to go up or down.
Yep.
You're only screwing yourself for what? 25 cents a square foot that you're wasting on ink? What was that? $3 of ink to not do an 18-inch or 20-inch rim section? Like, it drives me nuts. I'm like, why would you do that? It's like, just talking about that, like back then, I could see that back then, but still seeing it now in 2018, I'm just like, why?
Here, I got something for you. Fresh, free marketing material. First Wrap Wednesday. You take that hashtag and you play like a little clip of, you ask it in each interview, what was your first wrap? And you take that little clip and you play it, you know, like somebody's experience. You know.
My God. Just make it a little clip during the week of that podcast. The nightmares. Oh my God. Like, sorry that it just, it just brought me back because I could see scrolling through like Instagram and I could see a couple people still doing it. I'm just like, why?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Oh yeah.
Why do that to yourself? You know?
You know, and thinking about the tools, I think we had like a regular rate. No, I think we were using X-Acto.
Oh yeah, definitely X-Actos.
Yeah, definitely X-Acto, the black carbon blades, not cutting glass.
Yep. The 59-degree ones or whatever they are?
Yep. I think we had squeegees with Velcro on it. You know, scratching up that high gloss optically clear. And yeah, basically I pulled the liner back, or I taped it up. I hinged the very top, and then I pulled everything down, and boy, did that thing stretch.
Oh my God, I can imagine. It was probably like gum.
And all the edges that I didn't even, you know, I just pulled the backing straight down and the vinyl just like
curled,
just stuck, and everything was curling. I was like, maybe I'll do this after I eat.
Yeah. Let's talk about this during lunch, because I think something went wrong.
Yeah, we both left our panels up because we were both experiencing like the same thing in different areas. And, we just left it there and went to eat. When we came back, like the bubbles were insane.
Oh, I can imagine. Just caked on.
Yeah, it was just, not only were there bubbles from the print outgassing through the laminate, but it was just like huge bubbles from the print being on a hot cart in the sun, just like freshly solvent ink, you know, chemically bonding. Oh man, it was great.
Unreal. So how did you so after that happening, how did you guys troubleshoot that to to your advantage to figure out, okay, maybe we shouldn't laminate it right away?
We just muscled through it, and I was like, I'm gonna be ready when I go to school. I have 3 vans under my belt. I'm gonna know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. When I went there, I actually learned.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, that's why we don't laminate immediately. Oh, do this instead of,
there were no instructions when you bought the film.
Yeah. We're just like, oh, this is what we need for a vehicle wrap. And, about the printer, about all the material. Oh man, who knows how much they spent.
Oh my God.
It was absolutely a good learning experience. And, that's where I learned, what not to do and what to do by making those mistakes. And, then I think that's why I care about what I do. I pay close attention and,
research,
yeah. Always learning. Each car is different, whether it's commercial or, a wall or a color change. Every surface, every car, every job ends up being different.
Right.
You could do 3 of these jobs and the first one took longer than the last, or the middle one was the quickest. And when you got to the last, it took the longest. You don't know. Every job, something happens, you learn,
Right.
And hopefully you remember.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, man. After going through like a harsh learning curve, that gets engraved in your mind for next time when you do that stuff. But going back to your training now, this wasn't any type of certification. It was basically a knowledgeable class that they just taught you. Basically, this is the material, 3M 1080C, and it was probably it was the V1 with the checker pattern on it. This is how you install it. This is how you print it, all that good stuff. Take me through that whole process of you being, 19, 20 probably at the time, going through all that.
So, this was a, basic, class. This was, in my opinion, this was 3M's way of promoting the product. Showing people how it works so that it avoids, so many calls, in the moment, like, hey, this isn't working. This is, your film sucks. Like, no.
Right.
You come to the class, we introduce the product, we show you all the different products. So you understand, all right, do you want to use this or do you want to use that? And then they show you a basic, area. So, I learned a lot about, reflective, regular permanent adhesive, and the 180C. So this wasn't wrapping a whole car like it is now. It was like they gave you a 18 by 20 inch piece. You put it on the fender, you put it on the door, or you put it over a handle. That was advanced to do the handle.
Wow.
Okay. That's how, new it was. I believe they had it was a Dodge van and, I think it was a Countryman or something like that. A Dodge van and then a Dodge Viper were the cars for the wrap class.
Wow.
So it was like, it wasn't focused just on the wrap. It was focused on everything. But they did show you how to use it, what to do, what not to do. So you had a small area. You got it right then and there,
Wow.
And then I did the rivet wall on a huge semi. At the time, it was like a semi trailer thing. So it was like a rivet station on an actual vehicle that you would do in the field. So I got to learn that. and learned that those big heat guns, will burn your skin. So,
oh man, use the rivet brush?
Yeah, I used the rivet brush and,
old school.
Yeah. So, and my personal preference, I do love using the Master Appliance STC heat guns.
Yeah.
But I did learn off of wrapping with, a torch. So, everybody has their different preferences, but, we learned like pre-mask, non-laminated, 180C was not an option, with a torch. It's just like, we were that new, it was fun. It was fun.
I mean, if you could do that back then, doing all the new stuff should be a breeze at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
I remember doing a bunch of, so we have, like the Budweiser plant here where all the, trucks for distribution, grab the containers and they go and distribute the liquor throughout Massachusetts in my area. And, a buddy of mine used to work there and he's like, oh dude, they have these trailers or the tractor trailers and they have this wrap stuff that needs to get put on with the logos. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do it. I'm all about it. It's probably like 2006, 2007. And, I'm like, I knew a little bit of it, not that much, but dude, like pre-mask, like regular 651 calendared films and installing it as opposed to, the 180C printed, no laminate with mask. What a different ball game.
Oh yeah.
Completely different technique to install this stuff. It was unbelievable. I think I messed up my first panel.
Oh man.
able to save it, but man, what a learning curve, man.
Oh yes. It's
frog juice. Remember that stuff?
Oh yeah. Yep. Frog juice.
Liquid laminator. Oh my god. I don't even know how we even got by smelling that stuff.
Oh man. That's what kept us rapping.
I guess it got us a little buzzed. You know what I mean?
We were seeing frogs,
For sure seeing frogs or something, man, that kept us going. Holy shit.
Oh, I don't know, something clicked with saying the frog juice. Let's not forget, the painting, being an artist with our Primer 94.
Yes.
Oh boy, our first removal from our best wraps ever, the first ones. Ooh, a lot of adhesive.
Lots of adhesive.
That whole thing was probably, Primer 94,
Oh my god.
On a huge Ford E350,
Yeah, right in that V channel.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I'd be painting on it like I was painting a wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just get it, you get it dripping down a little bit. You're like, fuck it. I'm just gonna stick it on and
paint bristles, oh
my god, the thing, around the wheel wells. Oh, it might come off here. Let's just paint around here too,
Oh yes. And this was that, the one with that groove recessed area in the wheel well.
Yes.
So it's just like the S10 style.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I learned how to do that one really good. And this was like the 4-panel print. Sometimes you get that 12-inch panel.
Right in the groove.
Yeah, super basic layout, just print. So it was funny. It was funny.
And now we look at it now and it's like I could do that groove, that little bump out, just laying it in with no primer and never have it pop as opposed to tenting over it and trying to use the V roller or the big fat 3M roller. Remember that? And it would if you didn't roll it correctly, you'd get a wrinkle, dude. Oh,
yep.
There's no lifting that. After you got to live with it.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. There were nowadays, believe me, that I'm so picky
Yep.
That would never fly here.
Yeah, I mean, those were the learning curves back then. You and I are almost the same age. We're a year apart. And I know growing up in our era, like you said before, you had to kind of go with the times. And man, to be a rapper now and be at our age, 34, 35, man, like we are totally spoiled because the next 5-10 years, we're going to be at our prime.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And the material's just going to get better and the people are just going to get better. And we're going to be able to live out that digital dream like the sign painters did when the digital market came. You know what I mean? We're going to see that flip to the next thing, you know?
It's
amazing.
It is. And, you know, here I am thinking, and I'll save some of the juicy stuff, when you interview my wife one day. Jen will definitely have like another side of the story.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, that's why like carbon wraps came about the manner that it did, because I was burnt out of commercial wraps. I wanted to do the Fast and Furious stuff, and that's what Fast and Furious really blew up our, you know, custom vehicle market. And that's where carbon wraps came from, is Fast and Furious cars, you know.
Wow.
To cutting out vinyl with the little guy on the side of the car, you know, looking like Superman or something. You know, that's how we started, is flames, stripes, you know, tribal stuff. You know, that was the fun thing. People they were still airbrushing. They didn't know that vehicle wraps existed in the way that it did, that technology was there. That would have been like such a revelation for us, you know. I think it picked up in Europe for sure.
Oh, way before us. Yeah.
That's where this, you know, restyling comes from. And Europe definitely was on point. And you know, it's really cool how, you know, matte black showed up here and we were like, yes, we don't have to print black anymore and laminate. We can pull it out of the box, unless you want to use the 48-inch, you know, version that was available at the time. But printing was definitely like, we have all this stuff, let's print, you know?
Right.
So it's definitely cool how it's grown. And you know, real quick, I'll tell you how I'm a big believer in it's all in the name, you know?
Yes.
So carbon wraps, you know, it says what we do. We wrap cars, carbon fiber. So it's like geared towards, you know, race cars or cars with carbon fiber, you know. So, I would print my own carbon pattern that I made, that I designed. And, I did that for my personal vehicle because I didn't have the money for no, carbon fiber hood on my, 2000 Mitsubishi Galant. Nope. I'm going to print, I'll pay my boss, you know, $50 or whatever it was to print my carbon fiber and wrap my hood. And from there, you know, the clientele started.
Wow.
I saw that vehicle wraps really, they sell, you know, and they sell their self.
Right.
And, that's where carbon wraps came from, is making my own carbon pattern and doing my own personal vehicle. So it was pretty cool, pretty fun.
Yeah. I give thanks to, you know, the Fast and Furious, cause that's our time, you know, the custom designs with the Supra they had, and even building up to all the other ones, Tokyo Drift and all that stuff. Yeah. It really shed light to the customization in the digital world of what you can do to these quote unquote race cars or drift cars. And I think having those movies and that shed light, you know, it sold it sold the design, the wrap or whatever, so quickly that after the movie was done, everybody was looking for a sticker guy to do the same design.
Oh yeah. I remember when, I don't know about you, but they had booths at the mall or at the flea markets, and they had plotters there, and the guys would cut anything you wanted. No fear,
Yep.
American flags or whatever,
I did
words.
that. I set up booth at car shows, and I would pre-cut, powered by Honda, powered by Acura. I would have Honda logos, Acura logos, Mitsubishi logos. I would have them.
That was the thing.
That was the thing back then, dude. And I could tell you, I made so much money. $2, $3, $5, $10 kits, window banners all day long. You know what I mean? It's just, I still see it a little bit now at a smaller scale, but they sold for themselves. In those, those stripe kits, those long, like rectangular with the drop shadows going from the back quarter really thin to the front fender.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't even tell you how many of those kits I would do. Just different colors all the time. All the time. I made so much money. That's how I started doing the custom graphics, on the weekends. I would do vehicle lettering throughout the week for somebody that I was an intern in college, and then I became a full-time employee, and all the scraps I would do stuff on my own car. And then on the weekends, I would ask, hey, can I come in on the weekends and do some of my friends' cars? Yeah, just pay for the vinyl. Fellers was down the street.
Oh, man.
I'd go buy a couple rolls. We had a rolling 48-inch cutter. And I would just take pictures of my friends' cars, and I would make the vehicle templates in the Vector program.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And just create designs from there. And back then you would get like the clip art designs with the filigree stuff or the custom, you know what I mean? Like the old clip art shit. And I would take some of that.
Do the best you can.
Take some of that, cut it, crop it, blend it, weld it, and just make something out of nothing. And little by little you build it up and you build it up, and next thing you know, you've got a little bit of a niche.
Oh yeah. And that's like, nowadays when we cut, carbon wraps for somebody's car or some words for somebody or something, I still get that little, memory, like watching the plotter cut and then you weed it out. Like, this is cool. It's like soothing,
Yep.
We don't do it much anymore, but that was like bread and butter right there.
Yeah.
So I feel like this first half of our podcast is like jokes and good times, and now we're gonna get to like the nitty gritty.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's like
the meat and potatoes of this thing.
if we had some knifeless tape back then, we'd be kings. We'd be kings.
Oh my god, all day long, dude. And that's the we evolve with the times. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
I feel like back then when I was cutting vinyl, when we were cutting vinyl, there were so many cool, like, although it was like 6-month outdoor products.
Yep.
Oh man, the color changing stuff, the fake carbon fiber, like just the cool stuff you could cut and create with vinyl. It was awesome.
Do you remember the old like 651 carbon fiber they had? Calendared.
Oracal.
Oracal, yeah.
So back then, for sure, Oracal and Avery had the coolest specialty effects. You know, confetti, the chromes, I remember this black chrome. It was called like Galaxy Black. And I was like, that color is nice, and then later on, our tape came out and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You have like those sphere looking, patterns
Yep.
and the carbon fibers. They had that 3D carbon.
Yep. I remember.
All right. I would laminate that to 180C and wrap my hood.
Oh my God.
It didn't last, but man, I was the king right there. I was like, yes, it's real looking, you know?
How long would that take you to wrap a whole hood?
Well, the funny thing is, I had a truck at the time, so I don't know what I was thinking of wrapping my hood, carbon fiber. It did not conform. The 180C conformed, but the calendared carbon fiber chrome, 3D look, it didn't conform. So I basically did like the center part of the hood.
Right.
But yeah, that's where I started dipping in, like mixing medias, you know, try to make air release textures before there was 1080 and, you know, Supreme wrap film and 970 RA. And next thing I know, before 1080 came out, I was told about this, new matte black.
Mm-hmm.
That was 60 inch. And I was like, really? I'll take a roll, you know?
Yeah.
So we wrapped 3 cars with this. I don't know if it was like a pre-test kind of thing. Maybe they were doing a beta with us.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Maybe
basically, yeah, it was like a 1.5 mil matte black.
Wow.
The 3M. It was like, I forgot the number, but it wasn't 1080. So this was before 1080, and that stuff, I loved it, man. It was so cool. And that's when I started truly doing only, solid color wraps. Besides printing it, the technology for me wasn't there.
Yeah.
The blacks would still come out with like
greens.
Magenta, or you would see possibly banding, you know, a little bit of cyan, depending on what it was, if it was a cooler end or a, you know, warmer, color.
Right.
So although we were printing colors, when the 1080, before it came out, I was like, all right, I want to do just this. So I want to say that was like 2010.
Wow.
I was like, all right, I'm only doing matte black. That's what I want to specialize in.
One color only.
Yep. And, that's why a lot of people on the internet recognize a wrap as matte black.
Right.
You know? Nowadays, new generation, they think of Plasti Dip. Oh, is your car dipped? Cause that's what they know, you know?
Yep.
But yeah. Then 1080 came out and they had 3 colors or 2 colors, you know, matte white, matte black. So now I was doing matte white too. And then, next thing you know, they came out with carbon. I was like, all right, carbon wraps officially is only using this.
Right.
We did dip into, before the 1080 release of carbon, we did dip into the Dynoc. And boy, that was another learning curve in my journey.
You can't put it on cars.
No, but I was wrapping roofs and mirrors. You know, I was like, this interior stuff looks cool, but I want to do it outside, you know?
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was fun, you know, and it gives you a respect when a new color comes out, a new product. You're like, man, this truly is really nice, you know?
Right. Cause you know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And you have respect for it. It's like, yeah, this goes into that groove really nice. You know, the air release is good. Man, it's just, you know, nowadays, for the new guys, enjoy, you know?
You're welcome.
Yeah, learn everything you can about it because it's gonna work really nice for you, you know? You're gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah. Lots of dollar signs.
I know a lot of us used to do this, but you know, as the colors would come out, people would want to be the first one.
Yep.
And if you would do like, an orange wrap, so the local car, teams or groups, they didn't want to see another orange car. So then we started mixing up laminates. So we would make our own matte orange or our own, matte blue or,
Yeah.
And that wasn't available. It was just like a limited color, swatch, and there wasn't even a swatch yet. It was just little cutouts.
Yeah, you cut it out of the roll.
Yep. So it was just really fun. And in between all of that, obviously we would still do, some commercial jobs. I went to different, when I would start going to trade shows and stuff like that, the sales reps would see what I would do at my shop.
Yeah.
And, quote unquote garage is where it started really.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to a shop and sales reps would come, they would see like, wow, nobody's, I haven't seen that before. I'm not going to say nobody's done it, but I haven't seen that before. So those people market for you. They tell other shops like, hey, I know this guy that's doing a wrap right now, so I would, in between doing my own company, I would go, sub out some of my labor. I was like a mobile installer for other shops. So I kept like a good, relationship with like a lot of local shops. So that was another cool thing. But I didn't want to compete with any of them. That was my whole thing of truly sticking with, matte wraps,
Right. How busy were you enough with the restyling part of it when starting and then mixing in a couple of commercial stuff? Was a lot of your sole business like the commercial stuff still or no?
So this all goes back to what I was saying is, education on pricing would help, overall, because I wasn't charging enough for sure. So yeah, I was busy, but it's like, I don't think I was like charging a lot at all. And I'm super nice. So I would get taken advantage of. I would do like full wraps for probably like, super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
200 or 300 was like awesome,
Right.
And these other companies were making a lot of money off of me. But, when you're young and you don't know any better, you just, whatever, I'm cool with this. But as I got older and as, really when I realized, okay, I got to provide for my daughter,
Right.
I need to provide for, my wife. I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this for real, I need to charge more. So yeah, it was like mainly graphics and a few wraps. I wasn't doing like a bunch of, when I started Carbon Wraps, I was only doing, restyling, only full wraps in matte, and any accents, any, hoods or roofs was carbon fiber.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all I was doing, no commercial at that point.
Wow.
But, before that, like, right before I focused on that, I was doing like a lot of graphics and a lot of, commercial. We do a lot of boats out here in Florida. So I would do boats, golf carts, like all kinds of stuff. But, you live and you learn, and, I hate stripes, but I could do some mean stripes, but I hate them because my first experience on this, Mustang when the new body style came out originally.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't a 2000. It was probably like a 2006 or whatever. I'm not sure, but, I had to do stripes, and, I'm so particular. I did all my measuring. I applied it. Well, the guy's buddy was supposed to install his hood scoop. So after I get this stripe job done, he calls me. He's like, hey, can you wrap this scoop? The guy pre-drilled the holes. So when he put the hood scoop on, now the stripe looked or the hood screw was not centered.
Oh my God.
So my stripe was centered and he drilled the holes wrong. So if knifeless tape was out, I'd probably love stripes still. But the guy pulled out this like little strip of like sandpaper. He's like, hey, if I hold this here, can you trim on the hood, trim the stripe out, whatever distance it was, so that the hood scoop, although it's uneven, just to make it look straight. And probably at this time I was like, probably 20, 21. I was like, sure, man. And I was super gentle, but cutting against a long strip of sandpaper didn't help.
No.
So long story short, I cut his aluminum hood, and the only reason he knew is because he got sick of seeing his hood scoop uneven with this beautiful stripe, took it all off to fill in the holes, repaint the hood, and then change the, do the stripe again. Well, guess who got to pay for, or give his money back because I cut his hood.
Even though he was going to paint it again.
Yep. So basically, my job and my labor, and I don't know, I probably did the stripe job from bumper to bumper for like $250 or I don't know, something ridiculous. Nowadays I'm like probably $1,800 for a stripe job, bumper to bumper.
Hell yeah.
You want me to do a perfect job? This is my price for that. I'll do it, but I have I have to spite them.
yeah, you gotta do it.
But I could do some mean stripes. That's the stuff we have to learn and keep growing and keep going from. Don't cut on people's hood. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that. We get spoiled with knifeless tape, or even going back then with the, the painter's tape. You'd have to line everything up, use a Stabilo pencil, which is funny because I was talking to a friend of mine and he was doing the same deal. Someone bought them online, brought them to a shop, was like, hey, can you install these? And they were like $651 cut stripes, and it's just old school. And I'm like, hey, listen, best way to do it probably now is grab a white Stabilo, because it was like, no, I'll grab a blue Stabilo. I think it was a white car with black stripes, and grab a blue Stabilo, mark, where it should line up with it. And the first thing he said, he goes, what's a Stabilo? I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, what? You don't know what Stabilo is? A wax pencil that you can rub off? Like, they had no idea. So new to the market. It's like, okay, squeegee in one hand, knife in the other hand. That's all I need. There's no other tools to kind of go with it. I'm like, wow, man, I felt super old because back then, I would use a lot of masking tape to put up my panels. And I would use the trick where, when you have everything printed or even just, cut vinyl, you would have the masking on, and I would seam it down the middle with a piece of tape. Yep. I would take my taped edges and make a straight line at the top, and that would be where, when I took the backer off, I needed to hit that line in order for it to be straight. And I would go through rolls of tape every week, and I'm like, there's gotta be an easier way than doing this. And the Stabilo was it. I'd make 2 hash marks on the transfer paper and on the vehicle. Be like, as long as I'm close to that, I know I'm going to be straight. And that was the end of it. I always have Stabilos, white and blue, in my pouch at all times.
Oh yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. It's just interesting how, those things help. And, like stripes, they could go down good and quick and easy, or they could be your worst nightmare.
Yep.
And, so, little things like that, experiences, pushed me to focus on just doing the solid color, because I wanted to do that for myself, and that's what made me feel happy. I knew I was not making a lot on the commercial end, being an installer. the people paying you as a subcontractor, they kind of like, if they're making money off of you, and you know about it, that's one thing. But if they're taking advantage and lowballing you so that you still want to do the job, it puts a bad taste in your mouth.
It does. I would agree.
At the end of the day, like, everyone needs to make money, but, just be fair with be fair all the way around. Don't try to rip somebody off because you're a vehicle wrap installer and they need your help, and vice versa. Cause when you're solely an installer, you're depending on shops to bring you work.
Right.
To have your service. But if you don't do good work, you're not going to get called, and vice versa. Take care of the people that are helping you. And, as a company, there's a lot of stress owning a company and having employees. Take care of your employees, but your employees, don't forget, those people are sacrificing a lot to have you. So you might not see, everything that's going on behind the scene. So it's like everybody has their battles,
Right.
The installer that's not getting paid enough, or the employer that, is making all the money, or he's really not taking a check and he's making sure his guy gets paid, There's a lot of battles.
I've seen solo installers, just open up shops because they're sick of getting price gouged because they're the last ones to do the job. The other shops think they're going to be the cheapest people to get the work done because all they're doing is putting it on. All you do is put it on. It's easy. Last thing, panels are cut for you. Just show up in my nice AC'd garage.
Yep.
Work at your leisure. You got 2 days. Take it easy. It drives me crazy because not everybody has the luxury or have the funds to open up a brick and mortar.
Nope.
And with that, a lot of us don't have business experience. Like, yes, okay, we know how to wrap. Great. Do you know how to run a business?
No.
Probably not. You know what I mean?
Most people don't.
Do you know what your operating costs are? Do you know how much you pay for electricity every month? Do you know what your average electricity bill is? Do you know, how much your internet bill is? It's just, you don't know how much you have to make per month in order to actually make money. And at the end, and half of us don't know what we're making till we go do our taxes at the end of the year, and you're like, oh, you owe the government $10,000. What? I worked all year to owe them $10,000? How does that work?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't pay your taxes. What do you mean?
Yep.
I pay when I buy my material. No, different, dude. Different. You're in a whole nother league.
Mm-hmm.
Whole nother league. And that's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't tell you. And you find that out the hard way, and it sucks, but that's another hurdle. And another lesson you need to go through.
Yeah. Or you're that business owner that takes care of his people and, gives this person all the training they need and buys their lunch, like whatever. And then they turn around and leave and open their own shop. And you basically gave this person all the knowledge they need. Be humble and try to learn, when things are good, when you have a good thing, try to learn to be respectful and work with that person or vice versa, you're doing all these things to better yourself and the employer still doesn't care, you're going to get, $7 an hour, buddy, and you're like, but I'm doing all these wraps for you. I don't know. Take care of those people because now they're going to be your competition.
Right.
Or they don't care to be competition. They're just wanting to provide for their family. So, they're doing a job,
Well, I mean, when you look at numbers, I've had this conversation with another person where, you know, they feel like they do a bulk load of the work, and you know, never getting a raise, never getting a bonus, whatever the case may be. Those years go by and it starts to break that employee down. And when you're not thinking like when you're thinking like a boss, you might be just like, oh, operating costs, but you tend to forget like the people that are actually helping finish the job. In order for you to get paid on that job, you need to make sure that they feel like they're a huge value and an asset to your business, because as soon as you lose touch with your employee, it's fair game. You know, they can leave, bounce, open up their own place, or just say, forget this sucks. You know, and it's, you know, I feel like as being an employee, going back to what we said an hour ago, like, you know, when you're working for someone, you either feel like you're giving them 100% or you're giving them nothing. You know, you really have to value what you're doing at the time and do that 110%, no matter what it is. If it's not your passion, you still have to make a paycheck. You can't slack. You still have to work. You do your shit after work, whatever that passion may be. And, you know, when you stop being that person, you start going into work angry, upset, you know, aggravated, and all that is just basically a bad apple in the basket. All of a sudden, everyone else around you is feeling the same way. I've seen shops, dude. I've seen 4 or 5 people just get up and leave out of a shop. Wow. Just, I'm done. I'm out of here, because they all talk amongst each other. Fuck the boss. I can't believe we're doing all this work and we're still getting $10 an hour. They just all get up and leave. See ya. Yeah. And what happens to the boss? Now he's stuck with, you know, up Schitt's Creek with no paddle. There's a ton of work that needs to be done and there's no employees. Yeah. You know, what's going to happen to that shop? It's going to liquidate. You know, it sucks. And, you know, being a boss is so much more. Like you said, there's a difference between being a boss and being there till 10 o'clock at night, and then being an employee and putting your tools down at 5 o'clock. Yep. You sacrifice so much.
And when you stop caring, it doesn't matter which side you're on, whether you're the boss or the employee, when you stop caring, it shows. Yes. If you stop caring and you're the employee, the boss is going to see that. Why is he going to keep you? And if you stop caring as the boss about your employee, they're going to see that and they're going to leave. They're going to fire you. Yep. You know? Agreed. And, you know, I'm ambitious. So, I've always I've always had my hands in different things and try to do the best I can. And, when I started the shop, you know, it was more about focusing on solid color wraps, matte wraps. And, I didn't want to do commercial, you know, that's what I was doing for other people here and there. So I didn't want to compete. And I didn't have money for a printer, nothing like that. So I just focused on solid color. Although, you know, I did have a company later on or beforehand, with my father that, we tried out, and that's when the economy hit. So it was kind of like we were building up this company, economy hit, we had all the equipment. So it was like a loss. So I went back to working for people, and you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, we always have our ups and downs and you know, when I worked for somebody, I gave them my all, and sometimes I gave them too much maybe. Yeah. And you know, I didn't try to compete or steal customers. Like, you don't do that kind of stuff. You have to be loyal. And but when it came time to move on to a different opportunity or grow, you know, cause you have to grow. You know, I gave it my all and I feel that, my company's successful. You know, my wife and I put everything we have to it and, this is our livelihood, but you know, I'm not too proud to, go work. If I have no work and I have to, get a job, better believe I'm going to do that. I'm going to provide. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and you have to go back. You never know.
Right.
So, you know, and before I started, Carbon Wraps, I jumped around, working as solely a graphic designer. And then I've worked as solely a wrap, installer. So I luckily built up my skills in both, that I never lost touch with one or the other. So I was very fortunate and blessed to have both of those skills that I used to run shops, sign shops. So by myself, you know?
Yeah.
I did it all.
Having that double threat, man, I'll tell you, a lot of people only know one craft, whether you're a really good installer or you're a really good designer, and you may or may not on both spectrums may know a little bit of production. When you know all of that, you are just, the value of you is like through the roof, because there's not that many people that understand design and install and production all at the same time. And when you have those core values, man, you're kind of like a unicorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And people are looking for you out there, like all the time. There will never be a place where you will never be able to find a job, whether it be just in that design field or just in that install field. You're always gonna have that little bit extra to give. And that's like, I'm kind of in the same realm on both. I can design, print, produce, and install. So like, I know exactly what that kind of value point entails, man. Like I always pop into different shops around my neighborhood and, you know, locally in Mass, and people are just like, man, I'm looking for someone like you. It's like, no, I'd be way too expensive to work here because I know my value.
Exactly.
You know, because I know what's going to be perceived of me, being in the industry, and I know what it takes to work those long hours and to get the work done. I know. It's just, it is what it is, and not to toot anybody's horn or anything, but you have to know your value. You have to, and it all goes back to that pricing and that gouging and that, like, you can't go down that downward spiral, because once you go down, it's so much harder to go back up all the time.
You know how incredible it would be to be a shop that was like all employees knew wrap, production, you know, design. You know what I mean? Like how incredible that would be. The salespeople know wrap, you know, like they know what they're selling.
Right.
You know, there'd be no, oh, you're the designer, you're the artsy guy sitting in the AC printing. You're not working. I'm outside in the heat, you know, putting up this sign, or, you know, or vice versa. Like you're nobody because you're out in the heat working and I'm in the AC. I'm better than you. Right. You know, there'd be no, little, what do you call it?
Conflicts or.
Yeah.
You know,
like I seen that in the workplace before. It's funny.
Oh, yeah, it's funny when you're the one looking from the outside, but when you're dealing with it inside, it sucks because, you know, it all goes back to knowing your craft too. If that's what you like to do, hone in on that. Do that. I talk about that a lot too. Like, if you want to be a designer, fucking be a designer and let everybody else do the rest. Because that's the only way you're going to be successful. Cause, let's be honest. You, me, anybody, we can't do it all the time. You can't wear all the hats because you get burnt out. We've been there.
So that's a good point. It's like, don't get it wrong what we're saying. Don't try to take on everything.
Right.
Like, I love to design. I love art. That's why I design. But I like to rap a lot. I love rapping. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. I'm not jumping into trying to take over tinning as well and PPF. But if you want to learn those things to help your shop be better, go for it, but don't try to like, if you're good at something, don't hurt your reputation because I could do that. And you make some bad choices, but if you had a shop that everybody was like equal, man, that'd be awesome. Definitely.
But how awesome would that be when, someone calls out sick or someone's on vacation? Now you're not getting jammed up in any of your areas because everyone's picking up the slack because they understand the concept of it. I think nowadays it's, we pick a side, a group, a specialty, and we only hone in on that. And it's great, but it's always good to know the rest of the stuff too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just like, don't be closed-minded to just one brand of material. Don't be closed-minded to just, color change or just commercial. Like you could intermix, a commercial vehicle with color change and vice versa. You could do a really cool, so if we solely do color change, restyling.
Right.
But our clients, they own businesses. Yeah, we could do your commercial vehicle, but it's not going to be a standard commercial vehicle, It's going to have some reflective. It's going to have just, we're going to use those really neat laminates if you do like a nice metallic wrap.
Yep.
We're not just going to print and here you go. It's going to be a seamless commercial vehicle, high-end, digital art.
Right.
We're not gonna do pixelated, graphics or the worst, a screensaver for the desktop and you throw that or a gradient, like, here you go. No. If you want us to do that, we'll do it. But, you're going to pay, but we're going to give you the best commercial wrap we could give you,
Right.
So, and you could do some cool stuff. And that's the artistic part of us, what we do and what we like to push. But I think everybody should, try and mix and, be open, Don't just print the graphic and throw, gloss laminate on there.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
How much more is it to do a 8520, matte?
Right.
Or throw a metallic laminate on that printed graphic. Or what we do a lot, I'll get into, some of our recent projects. We took a dead matte black 3M, the new matte black, and we printed white UV ink. So we have a matte black wrap with a, gloss textured finish. So we did a Day of the Dead Ferrari.
Oh.
And, not only is it textured, the contrast is there. It's not laminated, but we did a liquid coating. So not ceramic, but one of the brands,
Yeah.
So it's still protected, the UV ink.
Right.
But it's UV. So we mixed, or we could have just printed black on a white wrap film and laminated it. But we wanted to do something unique.
Yeah. All black on black.
Yeah.
Gloss black on matte black.
Yep. Exactly. Same thing. We did the Samurai Corvette.
Yep.
And we took deep matte black, which is a darker matte black, and we printed the gloss black ink solvent. That one was, Lewis, WBC Graphics helped us with that. Our printer was down, and Lewis printed it for us on his HP. So we had latex ink on there.
Wow.
And there you go. We had an issue. We have a friend in the industry. We helped each other out.
That's what it's about, man.
I took him the roll. I was like, here's the art. He printed it. Boom. So you help each other out. When he needs help, I help him.
Right. One hand washes the other.
Yeah. And speaking of that, no egos needed. He's another shop, and we help each other out. And, when my father passed away, I had some crazy exotics to wrap at my shop, and he had asked me to help him probably a couple weeks before that on a job that I helped. So when my father passed, he was fresh in my mind, Lewis. And I said, hey, Lewis, this is what happened. Would you be able to help? My father was sick at the time.
Yeah.
And he came through. Him and Fabian, his son, came and helped out,
Wow.
And my father passed while they were working at my shop. And he actually Lewis actually took me to go drop me off at the hospital. So they came through. When you build relationships with other people in the industry, you guys could help each other. And
well, you become family at the end of that day, because not only do you know them business-wise, but you get to know each other personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
And and again, there's enough business out there for everybody.
Right.
We're in Florida. You're up north, New York, right?
Boston.
That's right. I'm sure you're slammed, and there's a lot of shops in your area. People in other countries, they're working, they're busy.
Right.
There's enough out there that we can all work together, and you have to be friends with everybody, because not everybody is friendly, but
acquaintances.
You can help each other out. You don't have to be buddies. Just like a mutual, like, hey, this guy's okay, but he needs help, I'll help him.
Right.
Or this is my buddy right here. He's gonna, we're gonna work together and knock this thing out,
I love that, dude. And I was gonna say, in that particular vehicle as well got featured the front cover.
Oh yeah.
Of, what was it? Was it,
Wraps.
The Wraps. Yes, the magazine Wraps. Amazing.
So that was our second Wraps magazine cover, which was like so cool, and we were surprised because we didn't know we were going to be on the cover or anything.
Wow.
And it was a blessing, like we were excited for sure. And it came out really nice. My wife and I, Jen, we worked on that design together and kind of focused on doing some geishas and samurai, some ninjas on there. And, we just, it's at the end of the day, it's a collage, but it's a tasteful collage.
Yeah.
And you don't just have a bunch of faces on a car or figures. You're tasteful with how you, execute the design. And, the contrast came out really nice. We did some black chrome for the blade of the swords.
Mm-hmm.
And, it just came out really good. And that client was super happy. That was his second wrap with us.
Wow.
before that, we did the original Day of the Dead rap that we won, regional for Florida, in 2016. So he really likes our art and how we work. So it worked out. And, this other Ferrari that we recently did, they happened to see that car online, the Day of the Dead, and they're like, can we do something similar? We don't want to copy, but something more focused on just the Katrina, the sugar skull, woman.
Yeah.
So we mainly did women on that. So it was really neat. And, and then when we do, we have some more that we're doing, can't talk about, but they're the, raps that we're entering for, Rap Like a King.
Oh,
and,
I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
There's just, at the end of the day, it's for fun,
Right.
So, don't get stressed. If you got something cool, put it up. If you got something you're proud of, go for it. It doesn't have to be, an exotic with chrome or anything. Just whatever you have that you are proud of, put it up there. It's more about, sharing what we do.
Right. It's friendly competition amongst our peers.
Mm-hmm.
The way I look at it, because when you see something that when I see something that you've done, and I'm just like, damn, that's fucking sick. Like, I want to do something like that, but I want to take it to the next level that maybe he didn't think of. That just sparked another concept, another design, another avenue I want to go with. Kind of you set the building blocks, and then somebody else just builds on that, and then you see that and you're like, oh, I got this. I'm gonna blow whatever he just did too.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all trying to better ourselves, and it's not, I don't want to call it a competition, but it's just it's almost like you want to one up each other. Like, what can I do next year for this? That's just going to open up the doors to something completely out of the box that nobody would have ever thought that could be done.
Yeah, and it's great that we have things like, Rapfolio and Rapper Mapper that showcase everyone's work, you know? So you can actually get ideas like, hey, this person rapped this Honda Type R in this blue. Let me show this customer that's interested in a blue wrap for his car.
Right.
Or this guy has a Bentley that's camo, and my customer wants to do a camo on his Bentley. I can show him this example,
Yep.
So sometimes those things really work out, and it's not there to copy, but it's just there to show your work and have some reference,
Absolutely.
And, that makes it tough, on the other hand, to be creative and original, but sometimes you just have to just do it, Nike.
Yeah.
No, one of my most, one of the raps that gives me a lot of joy, and I'm super happy with the way it came out, was, the Nismo GTR we did in, it's a full printed reflective.
Yeah, reflective. That's what it was.
And it's like the icicle, camo almost, like an abstract camouflage.
Yeah, like a bunch of lines.
Yeah. That client showed up, and he said, he's the owner of the Nissan dealership down here. He said, I'm entering this car to a rally, and I want something different, I'm going to pick it up next week. Let me know what you come up with. Whatever you want. I just want it different. I was like, okay.
Free reign.
Wow. My wife and I, Jen, we got on it, and we just started mixing colors, doing these, it was for the, snowball rally. So they were literally going to drive in the snow, all over Utah, Colorado, stuff like that. So we went with the theme. We went with a fast car,
and we came up with that rap, and that's what, and it was just used for that rally. Then the guy took off the rap and sold the car.
Amazing. But what a piece of art. Yeah.
And that was like the most, the rap that really, I was happy with. Like that's my most memorable one. Like, yeah, I really like that,
I love that you documented it as well, because I actually watched that video on your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
And
I like
just
that one.
watching you install that, it's almost seamless, because you have the hood coming down towards the front bumper.
Yeah.
And then you have the sides coming in with it, and it just shows the whole process. And it's just such a great it's only like a few minutes long, but it's such a great representation of what you do and how you do it. And I love that you have videos on there too. I know you don't, a lot of us don't have the time to do these crazy production videos and editing and stuff like that. And I know it's an older video, but man, it's such a great video.
Oh, okay. So quick, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, marketing tip. So when you're doing a rap, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, they rank top, they come up quick on the search engine.
Mm-hmm.
So do a walk around of your finished product. Even if it's 30 seconds, throw it on a YouTube page for yourself. It doesn't have to be high end. We've spent, $200, $700, $1,200 on a professional do a video and photo shoot.
Yep.
And sometimes those don't rank, don't have that many views or likes or rank up as much as a raw cell phone walk around of a vehicle before it leaves. Don't be afraid to take your own cell phone that's in your pocket and do a quick little walk around, do a few pictures, and post that. Be proud of your work. Yep. Because those things, not only is it documented now, so if you did forget to do something, you have it on there, or it could be like legal stuff. That's good. Right. But it also, you post a little video on YouTube. YouTube video comes up quick on a search engine, and you do little tag, like keywords, like I would do, GTR Orlando, So if somebody's searching for something of a GTR in Orlando, guess what? YouTube comes up before your website will come up.
That's awesome.
So like little things like that help. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Sometimes they're raw, walk around. People are just interested, random things. They're not into cars, but they see that. They show a buddy that has a nice car, and they're like, I'm going to go there for a rap.
Right. And it's proper tag usage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have to tag things the right way in order for the search engines to properly kind of optimize what that person's actually looking for. And you'd be surprised. I've looked for things online and other things have popped up, and I'm like, holy shit, like, why would this come up within the first two sites over what I was actually looking for? And it happens. That's a great tip, man.
Yep. Oh yeah, you could be sneaky and throw Nike, hashtag Nike in your picture or video if you wanted, and somebody looking under the hashtag of Nike is going to see your rap if you want to be sneaky. Or you could develop your own hashtag, and when people start catching on, then they see, the hashtag builds up, it shows up all the pictures or video you've done with that hashtag. You have your own, but you throw in those other hashtags that other people may run into. Like I'll do, if the car was wrapped gray, I put gray.
Yep.
So that somebody randomly looking for something gray, oh, what's that? And then you have your own hashtag in there. So it's like this person has their own stuff. I don't know. It's interesting how you can build up your images and videos on social media.
And awareness at the same time. You know what I mean? You want to get those people to kind of follow you or like your work or whatnot. And how many times have you looked through like wraps, and then you'll find like sandwiches Well, I mean, it's all intertwined. It's so generic, but someone that might have a food truck that is making wraps will see that and be like, oh my God, like vehicle wrapping, I need my food truck done. And it's just, it's kind of like that, was it 5 degrees from separation type of deal? You know what I mean? Yep. We're all intertwined in this some way, somehow. And if you find a way to, tag things correctly, you can really generate, a lot of feedback, and, you know, some people go viral with things like that as well.
Exactly.
You know,
we did, real quick, we did and I know people have done this forever and are still doing it. You take a scrap piece of material, you heat it up, and you push the heck out of it, and you heat it back up. Well, guess what? We did that with reflective when 780 first came out.
Yeah.
And it blew up like, within one day. I think it was like 30,000 views.
Jesus Christ.
You know, like random, all in one day, because it was just something different that you're not just entertaining, people in the rap industry and sign industry. You're entertaining like random people because it's just something that catches their eye.
Right.
But something that's focused on, like, I just did this car and I wrapped it in matte. It may not get anyone's attention, but you do this random video and it like blows up.
Yep.
So, you know, you don't have to be, Instagram savvy or the king of Instagram, but, you know, you do some nice quick little things that didn't take a lot of time. You throw it on there, whether you get a good response or not, at least something's on there, and it starts getting attention, you know, slowly but surely. And a lot of people see your stuff, whether they like it or not. Maybe they're just scrolling through the feed and your things come up. It's filtering it somewhere. So, it's not always about how many followers you have. Like, I don't care how many followers I have or how many likes I get. I want to post what we do on our online profile, portfolio. And that's for clients and people to look at. I'm not worried about getting 1 million views or 1 million followers. I worry about who's seeing it locally.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And who I'm showing. That's what I care. Because just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean you got 1 million reps to do.
Right. Right.
You
How
know?
many of those million followers turn into revenue?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, you know, sometimes I'll get marketing companies call us up and they could get this much traffic to our website or this or that.
Right.
Maybe you need that. Maybe you don't, but we just focus on what we do, locally. I don't want to get, all this traffic from different states if I'm only focusing on my local, business. Yeah.
Since we're talking about social media and I brought up in the beginning about your presence and your cleanness and your kind of savvy way of posting on your portfolio on social media, when did you decide to really focus more on building or making your social media account a portfolio? Because I just love the way you post, man. It's just so clean. Everything's kind of together. The whole middle row of your Instagram are all the swipe lefts. Dude, it's just, and then it's like the left and right of the car on the outer rows of that project.
Yeah. So, I don't know when, you know, obviously we've been in the industry for a long time, but just recently, I'd say the last 10, 15 years have been a huge increase on social media for your business. Mm-hmm. So, when I started the Instagram in like 2012, and sometimes when I'm interested in somebody's page, I go to the very last picture to see
the very first picture actually, and I compare the last image that they posted to their very first to see how that business has grown. You know, I don't sit there and look at every picture they've done, but I kind of like get to the bottom and see like how they've evolved. Cause that's really cool. Cause I look at mine and I'm like, wow, you know, I've gotten way better, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, I've always been about, art, like I said. So photography is an art, and I've always envisioned, like, I'm proud of what we end up finishing on a wrap. So I want that image of the wrap to be like as high end as possible. So we used to, and we still do, we'll pay photographers to come out and shoot the cars and videographers to do videos, because those things matter to us. You know, we want it to look high end, you know? And it could be something basic, but you have that high end picture and it just does something different, you know? And you can, that's how you get into magazines, you know? That's how you get to submit, you know, your images on other websites and be usable for magazines, you know? It's not like because you're in a magazine, you're better, but just for those that want to do that kind of stuff, that's how you get your cars in magazines, you know? I'm not the king of that. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying like those things have helped. Randomly we've been asked, wow, can you send those images over, you know? And it's like, whoa, we took some money to the side and paid for this, and now it's gotten us this, you know? So sometimes investing in yourself and investing in what you do pays off in a different way, you know?
I hear you.
But yeah, so carbon, CRBN, is basically, you know, carbon wraps. And, I basically wanted to do that. I think, when Jen and I were, looking into a Google number. So we wanted to have our mobile phone as a business line, but we didn't want people to call our cell phone whenever they wanted or text message us, whenever they want. So Jennifer found this random thing about Google. They make Google phone numbers. I don't know how many years ago we found out about it. So we made a local area code phone number through Google, and you could just type in a number and see if it's available, or you can pick what they have. Nowadays, I don't know how much is available. You may not get one in your state or city, a phone number, but you might get something that works for you. Luckily, we got our area code, and the last 4 letters was CRBN. So we figured, yeah. So we did that way before. We were trying to get carbon as the, you know, the number for, you know, our local, area code.
Yeah.
And then carbon, but it didn't work out or however it was going to be. So we got CRBN. So I've always wanted to like do something more with that, play more off of that, do like maybe, you know, a lot of people want to support your shop because they like you, and they want to have like a company shirt, but you don't want to give them what you wear. So promotional stuff, that's what we're going to do, CRBN, for some of our promotional stuff. Like, hey, you want some of our local apparel, you know, to support? That's what we're going to do with CRBN. That's what, that's where the whole CRBN picture came about, to like separate, since Instagram has the 3, pictures, you know, set up, layout. We just figured, okay, I want to put a picture of the car. I want to put, a video of the car. So what's going to be the third thing?
before we wrapped it. So that's where we came up with doing the CRBN. And then obviously because we use Photoshop, we got fancy with it and threw images of the cars or, just different parts, different angles, of what we're about to show with the slide. So when they did the slide feature of pictures, I'm like, okay, great. What are we going to add with that? Are we going to take 20 pictures of the car and put as many slides as we could do? So, and you have to engage quickly, you know, right. You don't want to have a long video. You don't want to have 20 boring pictures. You want to have a fancy picture, a couple, since you're sliding, you want to have one sliding picture with process, you know, before the car is wrapped. So I do the car's wrapped, during the wrap and then before the car is wrapped. So within those slides, you'll see like a transition, right? And then I throw in the video. So, if it's not like the video that I want, I'll do the boomerang since that's another feature that Instagram has. So it's basically that, you know, repetitive,
loop,
short looped clip.
Yeah.
So I love to, boomerang and my wife and daughter like tease me about, oh, you're going to boomerang another one? You know, so they're standing here in front of me, so I'm just messing with them. But,
that again?
I love to like, this is for other people to use too, you know.
Right.
Take a boomerang of the roll you're about to install or the print you're about to do, you know. The printer's printing, record the boomerang. You know, it's like the print's coming down and the print head's going back and forth, you know. Little things like that gets people's attention. The plotter cutting, some graphics and you weeded out one of the logos or whatever it is. You're doing multiple ones, you know, and it's just floating there back and forth, you know, just little stuff like that. You know, if you're about to remove, a piece of the graphic that was knifeless taped, you know, boomerang that. It's just like yank it.
Put it on, put it off.
Yep. So just, you know, it's silly stuff, but it just gets people's attention.
It's engagement. That's all. Yeah. That's all you want to get is people scrolling through it, seeing it, and be like, "Ooh, what was that?" And they'll scroll back just to see it, and that in turn could get you that extra like, or have them open up your full portfolio on your page.
Exactly.
Which in turn turns into dollars.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So back when I first started, I just would post the high-end pictures that I had. You know, I always had photography shoot the car, you know, and if they couldn't, and I didn't want to have like 20 pictures of the same car on my whole page. So everything we have, we try to do a minimum of 3 pictures for that project, you know? So each row is its own job. We're not trying to fill in and have like 4,000 posts that people are not going to even enjoy what your first couple posts were back in the day, or, you know?
Right.
So I try to keep it short and sweet, not complicated, and allow that job that we put so much love and time and effort and, you know, working long hours or whatever the case is, that it gets the proper love, you know, like we post that and when people see it, they're like, wow. So, you know, when your page is cluttered with a whole bunch of, you know, the whole process and you have 20 pictures of the same car, it doesn't get that much engagement, you know?
Right. Cause you could be mixing other jobs in between that because you're getting it too early in the process where you don't even have the final result done either.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, there's no rhyme or reason. And that's why I think I levitate so much to yours because of the cleanliness and the thought behind every single post that you have. It's just the cleanness. I mean, I look at mine and I get so embarrassed. I'm just like, it's like every week I'm like, thinking about, okay, what can I take a picture for, Throwback Thursday? And it's just so random, and, I'll take a selfie, but believe it or not, a goddamn selfie will get me 140 likes, and then like, the funny podcast ones that I get like 80. And I'm like, people like to see my face more than the funny photos I put out on Fridays? Like,
it's so random. Yeah. So what I do too is like, I'll take random pictures here and there, and that's what I do for like Throwback Thursdays or
right.
Or just something to post. Cause at the end of the day, you're doing it for engagement. You're not doing it for anybody else but yourself and to engage with potential clients,
Exactly.
So have random stuff. I always keep it in the sequence of 3, but if I'm trying to finish a project or I want to hold off on posting that until another time, or I have to wait until, this car gets released or this color gets released, So what I'll do is I'll post other things in between that, or I can't wait to post like a lot of people do. And they want to throw something on there. All right, do it, but go back later and clean that up, like delete those random images, cause now your project's done,
Yep.
So it's just little things like that.
Yeah. Never be afraid to kind of go back and delete older stuff and keep things current,
And now phones, the app, can hold higher resolution.
Yes.
So now your phones do great images. You could go back and delete those old pictures that came out low res because of the technology then, and use the new technology now, and it'll look so much better,
I agree.
It's at our fingertips. It's free. We should all take advantage of it, and we don't have to be the kings of Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, but if it's going to make you money, throw a few little things up there, because, it's going to help.
Yep. You never know. I want to switch gears because I want to make sure I kind of get like an inside view of what your shop's like and what type of equipment you're using in order to create, these just incredible masterpieces that you have. So give us a little inside look at like what your shop's like and who works with you.
Okay. So, the shop consists of, my wife, Jennifer, which is, ladies and gentlemen, couples, don't get it twisted. Just because your spouse works with you doesn't mean that they're the, laborer or the, receptionist, Be proud to do whatever task it is. So it's Jennifer, myself, and, our friend Dave, which does, we've been working together for 8 years, and he does paint protection, and we do the color wraps, and we just share the space, and we help each other out. He needs a hand, I need a hand, We don't intermix, but if somebody wants PPF, we shoot it to him. If somebody wants wrap, he shoots it to us. It's all in the same shop. My brother works with us also. He does his own company. He only wraps motorcycles.
Wow.
So we keep it very family and friend orientated. We have friends that do photography or video, so everything, works out. We help each other out, and, we make everything flow nicely. We have a, Epson solvent printer, which does, this particular one does the orange ink and, silver and white. We also have a laminator, 60-inch, and we have a a 30-inch Graphtec and a 60-inch Graphtec plotter. You know, so we can cut whatever you want, some stickers, we could do that. And then, basically we try to keep it as low key as possible. We don't advertise outside of our building. It's by appointment only.
Nice.
I try to eliminate the time wasters. I'm sure everybody deals with that. Time wasters meaning the people that come for quotes that never do anything. So if they're serious and they've hunted to find you, they're going to do the job, you know?
Yep.
The only thing that's stopping them is your customer service or the money, you know?
Right.
So as long as you're friendly, you'll consistently get, you know, more business, more clients, whether they do work with you or not. Maybe they had a good experience and they're going to refer you because, hey, these people were too expensive for me, but they were really nice and they knew their stuff. You should definitely check them out, you know?
Yeah. It's a little bit of education too, when you can have that one-to-one conversation with them and educate them on how the process is done. And it's nice when you have a brick and mortar too, where they can come see the machine, see someone installing it, and they appreciate the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And back to when what you were saying about, the generation now is lucky and spoiled, whatever. You know, you could be a solo installer. You just have to have a space, or you could go to the person's house, literally open the box or the wrap, whether it was printed and shipped to you, or you just bought a roll of color and bam, you do the wrap.
Right.
You know, as long as the skill is the most important thing. So invest in that. If you don't have a shop, don't worry. You're still going to make money.
Right.
Do training, get certifications, you know, do that stuff for you, invest in yourself, learn the craft, and then worry about getting a shop, worry about getting a printer, all that stuff later. Hone in on the craft, because I think a lot of people, they leave a job and they're going to do this for themselves, and they get into a bad situation and it closes up quick, you know?
I agree.
Or they have the funds, but they don't have the skill, you know? And then you end up getting a bad reputation because you're putting out bad work, you know?
Yep.
But if you hone in on the skill, everything else is going to come to you, you know? So yeah, we basically, we could print in-house, laminate, cut, and, that's pretty much that. We have an air-conditioned bay. We have offices, and, we, design here or at our house, you know, on our free time. I love to design, but like I said, I'm passionate about everything I do. So sometimes I get carried away on design and, you know,
hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. Jennifer's also, a designer. So we pull together to, you know, get past the humps of design sometimes, you know?
That's awesome that you both can take, the bull by its horns, where if you're feeling, kind of designer's block, she can jump in and add some more touches, and then that motivates you to do more. It all goes back to what we were talking about too, man. If you can do a lot of everything, it's just so much easier and streamlined, and that's awesome that she can design too, because at the end of the day, when you're just feeling down and you just want to install that day and she can just do that, it's just, you've got basically the dream team working with you. You know what I mean?
And our daughter, you know, she's 13 now, going on to 14. She is into photography right now. So we're going to help, mold her into, you know, doing the, photography here one day. if that's what she ends up liking. And, work ethic, teaching, helping expand the art.
Right.
And, helping them focus on something, our next generation. It's important, and, she'll end up liking what she does here versus saying, here's a squeegee, start rapping. Right. And that's what you're going to do. Like, you like photography? Here, take some pictures of these cars and,
she has a choice.
So little stuff like that. I actually am not a photographer or do any video or any of that, but I really like visual. So I'm even thinking about learning,
There you go.
I'm more like the, producer or, conduct the theme or the situation when we're doing a video or a photo.
Yeah.
And, I tell them my vision and then give them like the direction and they're the professional. I let them do their thing, but I give them like what I'm looking for, and hopefully we get into it and it comes naturally like design does,
Yeah.
And I think we're going to put out an awesome product because we know what we're looking for as rappers and sign makers on what, that area was super difficult. This is what we need to take a picture of,
Right.
The details, and maybe one day, we'll offer that service to other shops or something, help everybody out. But, with the way our phones are, we can take like high res, pictures nowadays. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. 1080p on the iPhones or Androids. They're just as good as our, $300-400 camera.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yep.
You use what you got. You don't have to spend a ton of money on crazy equipment. It all depends on what you can afford, and just use what you got until you can afford something better.
Yeah. And all our business is word of mouth and referrals. So we do very little marketing. Like I said, we don't even have a building, a sign outside of our building. Some people may think that's dumb. That's not, smart to do as a business owner. And some people might think that's genius. It works for us. At the end of the day, it's about what you do, what your finished product is. If you do a good job, you give it your all, it's going to keep coming back,
I agree.
You're going to keep getting more work. It doesn't matter. We could close up here and move to another state and start up with the same direction, the same foundation, and the same passion, and build it and do good,
Exactly.
Where if you're not doing good in your market now, you move somewhere else, you may still not do good over there,
Word of mouth is the best advertising, especially for the new upcomers.
Yeah.
I personally think, your last client is going to be your best, salesperson.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be the ones talking about you and promoting you. And, as you progress and get better, and you're able to pick and choose your clients, and your clients are able to pick and choose their, rap installers, because if they're going out and doing their homework and they find you, if you're kind of like a hidden gem, and they do their homework, they're not going to question you on your price. They're not going to question you on your quality, because they've already read the reviews. They've already talked to people that have dealt with you. They're already comfortable, and the job has already been sold prior to them even walking through your door half the time.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the kind of clients we want.
Yep.
We want the people that are they already feel comfortable and confident that you're going to give them exactly what they want or better, versus, hey, I'm trying to sell what we can do. No, we are a non-pressure, company here. The person comes in, we educate them real quick, we show them their options, and it sells itself. We don't try to upsell something or anything like that. You know, we have the books that are available. We primarily use 3M here. But we use quite a bit of, Avery and Orful as well. So it's more about what the client's looking for versus this is what I want you to use, you know?
Right.
I know what I like.
Yeah. As an installer, yes, you do know what you like because you want to use, you know, the better material, the easier material, you know, the stuff that's going to last and have that durability for you.
Yeah. And, durability. We might need to save that one for another day.
Yeah, but, we're going to have to. We're creeping up on 3 hours, another long one.
Yeah, I know. But, at the end of the day, you know, like if you're doing, color change, don't jump into a chrome job if you've never done one, you know?
Yep.
Try every brand out yourself. Try every finish, every texture, every chrome is different, you know? Familiarize yourself with the product so you don't hurt, the industry at the end of the day because of failures, you know?
Agreed.
And, you know, you could buy 1 yard nowadays. You could buy, you know, small sections, you know, you could try it out beforehand. So you know what you're getting into, cause it's intimidating to jump into like a full chrome on an exotic. You really want to do it, but you're not ready for it. Take the baby steps, you know, cause you don't want to lose that job or get sued or, you know, whatever, or you might do a great job and it works out for you, but take the baby steps, you know, try out all the films, know what works. Don't let somebody try to come up to you and say, "Oh, I want this from eBay," and you be the guinea pig.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't, you know, we all want to do those exotics and do those nice cars at the end of the day. But if you're not comfortable enough, nor if even you don't even have the insurance to cover something like that, that's a whole nother realm of the podcast we can talk hours about.
Yeah.
Proper insurance in order to work on these high-end cars. Cause God forbid you break a clip. It could be $200 for one clip.
Oh yeah.
You know?
We actually do a lot of, Volkswagen GTIs and Beetles, for the Volkswagen dealership here.
Mm-hmm.
And they pay, you know, it's good. Where the Lamborghini dealership only wants like accents, stripes, you know. So it's just interesting how that works. It's not always about getting that high-end job because that high-end job is not realistic to most people.
Right.
They don't have that car, you know. We do a lot because we are in that area that's available. But we don't just cater to that because that's where you hurt yourself in a way. You want to be inviting and open to everybody. I don't know. It's just, it's interesting.
Absolutely. Well, we're creeping up on 3 hours, man. And honestly, we have gotten so comfortable now that I honestly feel like I got to go grab a cup of coffee and call you right back and have another 3 hour conversation with you, man.
I know, right?
Damn, I feel like we really didn't even scratch the surface a little bit on this one.
I don't think so.
We're gonna have to do a little follow up with maybe you know another one with you and definitely one with Jen.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like you know having women in the industry is such a big thing and there's there's not a lot of women in the industry doing what Jen does, doing what Christina McKay does, is doing, you know what I mean? There's so many people out there and everybody's kind of in their lanes. And Jen is right there, man. And I definitely want to sit down with Jen and get her story, cause I'm sure she's learned a lot. And you guys being such a great team together and having that one-on-one and being able to have your home life and your work life like together is such a great experience. I love when there's a husband and wife duo, because I feel like you guys have the ultimate life right now. You guys get to travel together. You guys are passionate about cars, passionate about your business, and you guys get to travel the world and enjoy it together as one. You know what I mean?
It is pretty amazing, and we've just talked about this recently too. We're like, hey, let's just keep enjoying this and writing it out, you know?
Yep.
And if one day we decide to like pack up and do something else, I wouldn't have a regret, because we had fun doing it, you know?
Exactly.
And different events in my life has taught me like, hey, you truly only live once, and what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow, you know, you don't, you know, just enjoy the moment, because, it does matter. Like every little thing's special, you know?
I agree.
If you could, you know, you might be frustrated that this gloss black roof is not laying down smooth and you got dirt specks, you know? Sometimes you just gotta walk away, eat the cost, do the job right, redo it, figure out what happened. That perfect job will work out for you in the end, you know? So yeah, definitely, we'll have to do this again.
Oh, for sure, man. Like I said, I could sit here. We've gotten so comfortable now, man. Like I said, I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface yet.
I feel bad. I don't know if I gave you anything you
dude,
needed.
all of it was all good, man. And this is what it's about, you know? You gave so many great tips about social media, your background, installs, the materials you use, give us an inside look into your shop, man. It's just amazing. And it's so humbling. Like I said earlier, man, to just sit here, you know, talk to you and reminisce about how you got to where you are now with you.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate you opening up, to me, opening up to our listeners, and sharing the story, man. It's just, be proud of yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, to learn about others and give a little glimpse into our past and how we've grown. And, you know, cause you don't know like what that person or company has gone through to be where they're at today, or, it's not always what it seems sometimes, and people think, oh, that's easy, or you're lucky, or whatever. But hey, maybe that person worked really hard to be where they're at.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Maybe that boss, you know, sacrificed a lot to be the owner of the company, or maybe that installer has gone through a lot to just focus on going from shop to shop, you know? So
it's not overnight success is never a reality.
Nope. And, yeah.
Awesome.
It's fun, man.
Steve, complete pleasure, man. Thank you so much. And honestly, the time you've spent with me, I appreciate you, because I know, you know, your family's with you and everything, and I appreciate the time you've given, me and the listeners, you know, that inside look into how you got started, man. I appreciate everything, that you're doing for the industry. I appreciate you sharing with us a little bit and everything, man. I can't commend you enough.
For sure, man. Thank you. It was a pleasure. And, you know, I have a lot of things I can't talk about in the works, in the industry that's going to be pretty amazing coming up. And, we'll definitely be at SEMA. So, don't be shy, come say hello and, we could be buddies.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let everybody know if they don't follow you that they're going to have to follow you now. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media and your website, brother.
Cool. CarbonWrapsOrlando.com is the website, and our social media is at Carbon Wraps. And yeah, you can take a look at our YouTube. It's Carbon Wraps 1, the number 1. We're always posting different things on different accounts. And of course the Facebook is Carbon Wraps. I would say Instagram is more about everyday projects, and, Facebook and websites more like, finished professional, layouts. It was good talking with you, and, I hope I did a good podcast.
Yeah, man. Likewise here, man. No, this was great. This was definitely great. We, like I said, we talked about so much, and I appreciate you sharing and coming out of your shell a little bit, because I know it can be kind of awkward to open up to somebody you've only met once. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I now feel like I've known you for years, and I'm sure that's exactly what our listeners are gonna feel like after they're done listening to this episode.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe I'll have to break dance at SEMA or something.
Yeah, on the rug, not on the concrete, please. We're getting older now, so
yeah.
Our joints don't work as well as they used to, and waking up in the mornings, the 2 Advils and the cup of water, man. It's real struggle, mm-hmm. Man. Well, Steve, dude, complete honor. Thank you so much for coming on here. I totally wish you and your wife and your family well for 2018, brother. Keep killing it. And until next time, bro.
Same here, man. Till next time, bro. Take care. I'll be ready.
What's up, everybody? Hope you enjoyed this episode of the All Wrapped Up podcast. Hit that rank button and review. And to stay up to date with future podcasts, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.